The one thing I love is my son. Most of the time, he's a little bit shy, but now when he get a game through it, like he become free. I think this game is your favorite game, yeah? He remember everything, he recall everything. How many under there?
7.
7 dinosaurs?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes, look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
He changed his mentality of math.
It
makes you learn about what?
About letters.
Okay.
Colors, numbers.
Okay.
What else? Shape.
I've always wanted to help people in my own community. So I'm in this Lake Washington School District neighborhood, the Bear Creek neighborhood, and I'm doing all of these fun hands-on math classes, debates, stocks, Excel classes, spreadsheets, just the whole thing. And I just started having a longing to teach more of my own students. And so that's what inspired me to start X Races in Math, which became Zeno, was to actually create something that we could export to Southeast Seattle and the Rainier Valley area specifically.
I began at Zeno way back in 2006, and I began as a mathematician in residence, partnering with schools to bring fun and exciting math experiences into classrooms. And then I stayed on doing that work, and we grew that program. We had family math nights, we had after-school clubs, and we were mainly focused on elementary schools. And then in 2015, we began to develop the preschool program because we had realized, we had always wanted to do more with pre-K, because we'd already realized for many years that kindergarten was almost too late to start bringing exciting math experiences to kids and giving them an opportunity to learn math in a fun way and increase their knowledge of math. By kindergarten, they were already behind, and it kind of began this slide that followed them throughout elementary school, 3rd grade, etc. And so finally in 2015, we began a preschool program. And I was an early developer of some of those preschool games. We managed to hold both programs for several months. And then we realized that to be impactful in the preschool world and to use our resources to the maximum, we needed to pivot completely to the preschool and sunset the elementary school program. We had this idea of developing preschool games, and it was kind of like, how are we going to do this? And I just remember, sitting down and looking at some of the pre-K concepts that were critical for young kids and just coming up with game ideas. And then, testing with the group, stuffing plastic bags, buying materials.
Zeno's games really lent themselves to allowing families to engage in what Zeno really is the backbone of Zeno, our 5 practices. We wanted families to have mathing materials that they could allow their child to explore with, that allowed them to have that child-led playtime. So whenever we would take a game into the classroom or go to a family math party, we always made sure that we had those math materials readily available for children to just engage with and kind of let them lead their own learning. And they would come up with some awesome things. In fact, that's even how some of the ideas for the Zeno games started, was we would see how kids were naturally starting to play with some of these materials, and then we could build on that.
There have been major changes just from putting this out into families before it's being developed. So for example, there's been a huge push towards showing more diverse families. So one of the things that has changed is, there are people of color on the box. Most families thought that this game was just for their kids. And so when you show actually a family playing the game, then it gives them an idea, oh, that's my family. Oh, we're supposed to do something together with this.
We play the Zeno games when I get home from work. My son Dante, he teaches me the games. It actually sparks my enthusiasm for learning again.
One of the biggest changes that we've made actually throughout all the games is making the instructions very visual and very step-by-step.
In all different languages, which is so very helpful for our parents.
በሚገባበት ሰዓት ግን በቀላሉ መንገድ በትንሽ ነገር ስለሚያስረዳቸው ዚኖ ማትስ በሚባል ሰዓት በጣም ኢንተረስትና ደስተኞች ሆነው ነው የሚማሩት።
The games are beautifully designed and easy to use for the parents, and they seem to have so much fun with them.
One of the major collaborators and supporters for Zeno's evolution in games has been KP Core.
When I was introduced to Zeno in 2017, it was, Jeanette, can you help us with this account? I thought it would be a small project, small undertaking, and it has developed into a great relationship with Zeno over the past 6 years. We teamed up with them to come up with the game box that is known today. I've seen a dramatic improvement over the graphics and the colorful images that you now see on their packaging.
We worked with KP Core very early on, and we basically took to them our prototypes and talked to them about what our vision and dream was, and they made that come to life. As we were making these shifts and trying to kind of make sure that we were continuing to get that family feedback, we would go into families' homes and observe them playing the games and kind of get to see what it looks like when families are taking this into their home and actually giving it a try. And it was truly amazing to get to see like those fun and engaging, those mathy, those positive conversations happening in the home and getting sparked from the games. And I think a huge piece of that was that the games were really easy to access. They were easy to just jump in and start playing. So families, again, didn't have to take that time to be reading these lengthy instructions or not being able to understand the instructions because they weren't in their home language. And they were able to just jump in. And I also think it made it easier for families to know and feel okay, like, I can have this conversation and this mathy experience with my child in my home language, and it is still benefiting them. We never want, if the instructions are just in English, it may feel like for a family that conversation, that game has to be played in English. And that's not at all true and not what we wanted. So to have families start taking this into their homes and playing these games, having these mathy conversations in their home language, I think was also really impactful. And having kids and families see themselves. I mean, we would change things like early on, we had pictures of families playing some of these games at tables. And when we were going in the homes and seeing families play the games, they weren't playing them on tables most of the time. Most of the time they were playing them on the ground, on a carpet. And so we changed the graphics to reflect that. And just having families be able to see a picture of a family playing a game that reflects themselves playing that game in that moment can make it so much more impactful and make it feel like this was made specifically for them to meet their needs and make sure that they have something that's fun and useful to them in their home. And so I think that was one of the biggest shifts, was just getting to see families start to play the games in their home language and play the games in the way that was comfortable for them, that was natural for them. And also boosted that confidence that you do not need to be an educator. You do not need to be a mathematician in order to do this. We are all mathematicians. We can all engage in these conversations and these games and support students' learning when it comes to math.
Is this your favorite one? Yeah. Because it's purple? Checka, 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 choo.
It's amazing how she remembers those shapes that I can even say it right when I'm that age. Can you say parallelogram?
Parallelogram.
Wow. Zeno is really helping her to become more motivated to go to school. It's a big help. Zeno is a big help for her in her math. How many wheels in an airplane?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Very good. How about the car? How many wheels?
1, 2.
During the pandemic, we couldn't really be going into classrooms. We couldn't go into families' homes to kind of get to test some of these things. So I was doing this with my own children all the time. And they happened to have been at like perfect ages, worked out really well to be playing these games with them. So I could see how much joy and fun. In fact, there was a point in time when I had to hide the Zeno games because I was like, oh my gosh, I do this all day for work. And then I come home and you guys just want to do this all night because they love it so much. And I could just see how it just sparked this joy, this interest, this passion when it came to math. They were so excited to just play the games, have fun with it, laugh with it. They would come up with their own kind of twist on things. They would push and extend their learning all on their own. And to get to see that with your own children is really special. But I could see my own family reflected in the games. We would sit around and play the games together. We would play Zeno Bear, and then we would change it up where it wasn't Zeno Bear. We were hiding, they would hide their favorite stuffies. It was just so nice to get to see my own children learning math in a positive and joyful way.
I mean, for me, the most significant and obvious shift is when we made a clear and strong and thoughtful decision to pivot from supporting elementary school programs to working with preschool families. And not just the age shift, the developmental shift, but critical because, kids were getting to school in kindergarten already behind in math. So that piece was really critical, but actually bringing math into homes and to families, mathy stuff, just like the literature movement brings books into homes, was bringing families in as their children's teachers was very significant because it not only benefited kids, it also benefited their families around sort of taking away some of the math fear and sparking joy and fun around math. So two things really: shifting to preschool, and we worked in preschool classrooms, but then realizing that the family, the caregiver of the children, were the children's first and foremost teacher, and that we could be more impactful if we brought mathy stuff, mathy games, Find Zeno Bear, games like Find Zeno Bear into families' homes.
Giving kids the early exposure, the early experiential enrichment classes, and the early engagement, and getting them excited early. Everything's early for me to prevent, to preclude, to stop this horrible thing that's going to happen or could happen or often does happen to them, especially young African-American males. So I just want to give kids these opportunities to enjoy math and enjoy learning. And kids don't come to school, or kids don't grow up, not liking math or fearing math. These are behaviors that are learned. These are things that are done to them. These are things that happen to them in the course of trying to get quote unquote education in schools. To me, this is really crucial work to be done in the early grades. And by elementary school, we need to have had students who've had great, fun, rewarding, experiences with mathematics. And if we send them past elementary school without having had a really great grounding in number sense enumeration, calculation, computation, number theory, and basic algebra ideas, and just the love of learning and pattern and play, then I just really feel like we're going to have a struggle and have a challenge with them in the middle grades, and I've seen that.